All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're going to see how you can completely overhaul your communication habits in just 7 days. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're halfway through a sentence, panic sets in, and you realize you have absolutely no idea where your thought is going. You start rambling, you throw in those dreaded ums and ahs, and you can literally feel your credibility shrinking in real time. Well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're unpacking a science-backed, step-by-step 7-day challenge to entirely transform how you speak, pulling from leading communication experts, behavioral researchers, and hard acoustic data. Let's get into it.
So, here's our roadmap for the week. We'll start by looking at how to fix your broken communication foundation. Then, days 1 and 2 cover presence and pacing. Days 3 and 4 tackle the immense power of pausing. Days 5 and 6 dive deep into acoustics and trust. And finally, day 7, that's the ultimate test.
All right, part 1. Fixing your broken communication and understanding exactly why we ramble and rush.
So, why do we ramble? Honestly, it's because we fall straight into what communication coach Finn Jang calls the immediate answer trap. We've got this false belief that to look smart, we literally have to fire back an answer within half a second of being asked a question. No way, right? Trying to talk before you've actually thought through your answer is a recipe for disaster. It's like trying to build a house while you're still sketching out the blueprints on a napkin. When we rush to speak, we're sacrificing clarity just for the sake of speed.
And here's the absolute crucial point. Fixing your communication is not just about faking it with a few cheap parlor tricks. It's about building genuine executive presence. Executive coach Akash Karia hits the nail on the head here. True confidence comes from deep competence. You absolutely must know your stuff. But, once you have that competence, you need external habits to make sure people actually perceive it.
Moving on to days 1 and 2, presence and pacing. It's time to own your space and your speed. Now, what is truly mind-blowing about this research from the Frontiers Journal is the sheer speed of human judgment. Listeners form rapid, basically instant impressions of your trustworthiness based purely on your acoustics and your physical presence, and they do this before you've even finished your very first sentence. Our biology is literally hardwired to assess safety and authority in a fraction of a second.
So your day 1 mission is all about using your physical body to signal that authority. First up, you've got to stop shrinking into your seat. Stand or sit tall by picturing this invisible thread just pulling you slightly upwards from the base of your spine. Next, use the back wall roll. You want to project your voice, with breath and energy, to reach the very back of the room, but without actually shouting. And finally, eye connection. Take a page straight out of Bill Clinton's playbook. When you're speaking to someone, hold their gaze for just 1 single second longer than you normally would. Make them feel like they are the only person in the room.
Then on day 2, we tackle how fast you speak, which brings us to this fascinating psychological phenomenon known as the pacing paradox. Psychological research shows that speaking fast, we're talking around 195 words per minute, can brilliantly overcome a resistant or hostile audience. Why? Because it literally limits their brain's processing time to come up with counterarguments. Pretty wild, right? However, if your audience already likes your message, you need to slow down. Speaking slowly at around 100 words per minute builds massive trust. It signals composure and gives a friendly crowd the time they need to reflect, evaluate, and agree with you even more.
Which brings us to days 3 and 4, the power of pausing. Discovering why silence is your secret weapon.
To really master silence, we're going to use Finn Jang's strategic pause. Think of this as a literal staircase of action you can take to escape that immediate answer trap we talked about earlier. Here's how it works. First, receive the question. Second, take an actual physical breath. Third, refine the thought in your head. Fourth, collect yourself. And only then, step 5, share your answer. This deliberate delay completely changes how your answer is perceived. It goes from a pure knee-jerk impulse to a profound, thoughtful insight.
And that brings us to your day 4 challenge, emotional regulation through pausing. Think about that famous example where Steve Jobs was personally attacked with a really harsh question during a conference. Instead of lashing out or getting defensive, what did he do? He sat in silence for over 10 full seconds before answering. Just sat with it, letting the emotions settle. Your mission is to channel exactly that. Sit with a frustrating question, don't react right away, and take your time to answer calmly. It proves to everyone in the room that you are completely in control.
Fixing your relationship with silence fundamentally changes how people perceive you. And the reason why is simple. Only a truly confident leader can let silence hang in the air without squirming. A well-placed pause creates deep anticipation. It highlights your most critical points, and it demonstrates total composure. It essentially forces the audience to lean in and hang on your every word.
All right, moving to days 5 and 6, acoustics and trust, the actual science behind sounding like a leader. We've got hard data from systematic reviews on speech acoustics that objectively proves certain features mathematically hack a listener's brain. For example, a lower fundamental pitch almost universally conveys authority and dominance. A voice with slight variations, which scientists call jitter and shimmer, is perceived as highly expressive and is favored way over some robotic monotone. And a moderate to fast articulation speed, that projects pure competence.
Now, understanding the science of pitch and jitter is great and all, but how do we actually apply these acoustic rules at the office or on a Zoom call without sounding like a completely over-rehearsed robot?
Well, your Day 5 mission solves this exact problem. According to behavioral researcher Vanessa Van Edwards, you need to aggressively eliminate uptalk. We all know uptalk, right? It's that accidental habit of raising your pitch at the very end of a sentence, making a definitive statement sound like a question. Doing this severely undermines your credibility. So, make it a daily habit to monitor your pitch and end your crucial statements on a downward, authoritative, and assured inflection. No more asking for permission to be right.
On day 6, your challenge flips to your listening acoustics, specifically mastering the art of small talk. Clinical psychologist Ellen Hendrickson introduces this great concept called conversational doorknobs. These are verbal cues like "no way" or "me too." When you hear these, your listener is actively engaged. But your mission today is to notice when these doorknobs suddenly disappear, and your listener starts giving you brief, disengaged replies like, "uh-huh." When that happens, gracefully exit the conversation instead of awkwardly rambling to fill the void. Being able to step back like that shows massive emotional intelligence.
I absolutely love this quote from Akash Karia because it grounds all this acoustic and behavioral science right back down to reality. Competence creates the kind of confidence that can't be faked. We can manipulate our pitch, we can use strategic pauses all day, and we can adjust our pacing, but sounding like a leader really only works long-term if you are actively doing the hard work behind the scenes to actually be a competent one.
And here we are at day 7, the ultimate test. Let's bring it all together.
Using the Management 3.0 framework, your final mission is to complete 3 rapid-fire speaking tests today. First up, give a kudo. Stand up and deliver a short, formal speech of gratitude to a colleague. Second, the Keep It Simple Stupid lightning talk. Condense something you're really passionate about into a strict, highly focused 3-minute pitch. And third, sell yourself. Deliver a flawless 30-second elevator pitch stating a specific problem and exactly how you solve it. These tasks are going to force you to project your voice, use those strategic pauses, and entirely avoid that immediate answer trap.
So, all the science and all the strategies are right there in front of you. You know exactly how to own your space, how to harness the power of silence, and how to leverage the acoustics of a true leader. The only question left for you is, will you take the 7-day challenge to transform your impulse into insight? Or are you going to just keep rambling in the background?